Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dance Thoughts. Yes, you read that correctly. I will be reviewing the Barbie movie. Am I the target audience for this film? No. Am I a content creator who is going to give my honest opinions on this film regardless? Yes. There's some stuff I really liked in this film. There's some stuff I did not like in this film, and I'm going to talk about it and give my honest thoughts. So the main plot of this movie is that Barbie discovers she is not working correctly. She has flat feet, she is thinking about death, and she has to go into the real world to find the child who is playing with the doll version of her, the toy version of her, I should say. They say that dolls and Barbies are not the same thing, so better not say they're dolls. But anyways, to find the person who's playing with the toy version of her in the real world, she has to go find that person and make that person happy as she is bleeding her emotions into Barbie from Barbie Land. And Barbie Land is such an interesting concept. So basically you see Margot Robbie as Barbie essentially acting her role as how we see Barbies do it. For example, she doesn't actually drink tea. She doesn't actually take a shower. She looks like she's doing it, but water never comes out, just like a child who is playing with a Barbie. And I thought that was really creative, seeing essentially that live action version of how children play with Barbies. You see Ken running to the ocean to try to surf, but that's just a toy ocean, so it doesn't work, and he crashes, and it's all really hilarious. And it's just an interesting concept that what they showed with Barbie Land is that in Barbie Land, the intention makes sense. I could see how it was meant to be female empowerment. You see, in the real world, you see Barbie have all these great jobs, and then it's no shock that Barbie doesn't think that the real world would be any different. So then going there and seeing that shock, seeing that contrast between how it is in Barbie Land and how it is in the real world, it was just very interesting. And it was very fascinating to see that, seeing that fish out of water type of scenario. And then Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are both very great in their roles. They both really do a good job of portraying the emotion really well. Margot Robbie not just has the looks to be a Barbie, but also has the real acting chops as well. Finding out that things in the real world aren't what she thought, you could genuinely tell how upset she was by it. How hard it was for her to make certain decisions in this movie that she knew she needed to make. She conveys that all really well in this movie. And Ryan Gosling as Ken, he's just hilarious in this movie. Just playing this bro type of surfer dude. And he goes through his own arc as well. He's trying to get Barbie to notice her, and he sneaks in the car that Barbie takes to the real world, and then he finds out about the patriarchy, which normally I don't like to talk about this kind of stuff in my videos, but if you've seen the Barbie film, you kind of know there's no way to not talk about it. So he finds out all about the patriarchy, he thinks it's this wonderful thing, and he goes back into Barbie Land to bring this concept into Barbie Land. Interesting story arc for him. And then like him finding out that it's not everything it's cracked up to be. Because it's not. And then there's some stuff I did not like in this film. You had Will Ferrell and his board of CEOs. They were the most pointless characters ever. Will Ferrell had you could tell he had a really good time in his role, but it felt like he didn't need to be there or need to be there as much as he was in this movie. It felt like you could have cut out a lot of segments with him and it would have been fine. But another thing I really love in this film is Gloria and her daughter Sasha, two people from the real world who set out to help Barbie. I love seeing that mother-daughter bond in this film. So that's another thing that really works in this movie. But in addition to Will Ferrell not working in this movie, I also didn't like Mattel in this movie too. When Barbie's in Mattel and all the board people are acting like cartoon characters, it just didn't fit with the vibe of the rest of how the real world is portrayed. So that didn't quite work for me. And also getting from Barbie Land and to Barbie Land seemed way too easy, and you wonder, why does it not happen more often? And also, why do more Barbies not malfunction more often? Does no one get sad playing with Barbie? Does no one destroy their Barbie in the real world other than weird Barbie? So there is that question of, why do things not happen more often? And a lot of the first two acts really just felt kind of like an acid trip. It just felt very, very weird at times. One thing I will say, a lot of films, I feel like the first two acts are great, and the third act is when it goes downhill. For me, the first two acts were kind of meh to me, but the third act is kind of what really saves this film for me. When the Kens take over Barbie Land, and Barbies have to stop the Kens from taking over so that they're in control again, at first, I didn't like this direction. Because to me, it felt like, why are you guys any better? So essentially, Barbie Land and the real world were kind of opposites, where you see more women in positions of power in Barbie Land, and in the real world, to this film, you see more men in positions of power. But to me, it felt like Barbie's trying to get control and make Ken's kind of the inferior ones again. At first, I didn't like it, because to me, things aren't... how am I gonna put this? Again, normally don't like to get into this stuff, but unfortunately this film, no way to get around it. Until people can start working together in harmony, things are never gonna get better. I'll put it like that. And I felt like Barbie just kind of trying to be the superior ones again, and not on equal playing fields. I didn't like it at first, but then the third act kind of got better, when Ken is upset, and Barbie goes to comfort him, and Barbie kind of admits she did some stuff that's not great either, and she should have appreciated Ken more. So that was one thing I really liked. Real quick, one point I wanted to add in post-production. I liked that Barbie and Ken didn't get together. I like that they didn't go with the cliche, oh, they have to end up together. But instead, they learned to embrace their own separate identities. That was a really important point, and I wanted to make sure I got that in there. And then also, you see a realistic commentary. Kens are trying to get more equal rights, and they don't get to be Supreme Court judges, but they're granted a consolation. And at first I didn't like that. Then I thought about it more. That's just how real life is that things are never going to get perfect. They're just going to get better over time. And I think that was a more realistic way to set the approach, is that things are on track to get better. Like I hope our real world is going for. But we'll see about it. And I have to talk about this because I am a Snyderverse channel. My channel is a Snyderverse channel. That's Snyder Cut reference. On one hand, I was happy to see the Snyder Cut mentioned in a popular movie. On the other hand, the way it was used, meh. I didn't like it so much. Besides, the Snyder Cut has one of the best female empowering scenes, and so trying to use it as a ploy for Ken's taking over, and yeah, I didn't like that so much. So, I didn't hate it, but didn't love it either. The patriarchy's bad, I get it, but there was a certain point where you didn't need it hammered as much as you did. But the ending where Barbie embraces being a human and making that difficult choice, that was such a really powerful scene. So, yeah, I thought it was a decent film, a little bit cartoonish for me at times, and but some really great moments in it as well. So overall, I would give this film a 7.0010265 out of 10. And with this film doing well, and Margot Robbie being a hit, and a writer's strike going on with no new content, I'm just saying, Netflix, if you wanted to talk to Warner Brothers about purchasing David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad, now would be a really good time to do it. So what do you think of this film? Did you agree with what I said? Comment in the comment section, let me know. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. And lastly, have a bat-tastic day.